Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today I'll be giving you a full 6-month ownership review of my 2024 Toyota Tacoma. Now, to make things simple, if you guys are in the market for a new truck and you are specifically watching this video because you are considering a 2024 Toyota Tacoma, I have to say, do it. I'm not saying that because I am a Toyota fanboy. I'm not saying that because this is my second Toyota truck. I'm saying that because it's a great truck. I was looking at many other vehicles before this one. I was looking at a Chevy Colorado ZR2. I was looking at a Ford Ranger Raptor. None of them really fit the bill. When I got into this thing, I have to say it was love at first sight. It was the right decision I knew I had to make. That being said, there are some things that I do dislike about it after owning it for about 8 months, but there is a lot of things that I do like about it. So in this video, I want to go over all those things, and I want to help you make your right decision when finding a new vehicle. Now let's get into the first thing I like about this truck, and that is the aesthetics. I think that Toyota did a fantastic job going from the 3rd gen to the 4th gen. I think that the body looks absolutely phenomenal. I love these sleek, sharp edges on the rear of the cab, and I also like the little duck bill too. And then just the front of the vehicle, it looks so mean. Now granted, there is a lot of work I had to do in order to help achieve this look. I went ahead and threw on some fresh Falcon Wild Peak tires, some Relation race wheels, then also some extended fender liners. Just looking at it from the front, it looks like this thing never missed a day at the gym. And I have to say, when I see my wife driving this and she's coming down the street, it looks absolutely mean. Coming to the rear of the vehicle, you can see that little duck bill that I was mentioning. I think that actually looks pretty great from an aesthetic standpoint. And now that we're at the back of the truck, one of the things that I dislike about this is going to be that pesky little exhaust. Now, it's not going to be the exhaust tone necessarily, but it's just going to be where they placed it. With this being a TRD Off-Road, they really did place it in a really inconvenient spot. I guarantee that if you go a little bit hard on your first trip off-roading, that exhaust right there is going to get crushed. Now, that might be a little bit nitpicky, but again, that's just my personal preference, and it may even help you too. One other thing that is slightly annoying is that if you are going to be upgrading your wheel and tire package, you are going to run into some rubbing issues if you do not lift the front of your vehicle. I chose not to lift my vehicle and left it at factory ride height, and unfortunately with that, since I did go with an LT285 70R17 tire, which is going to be coming in at about 32.8 inches, you do get a little bit of rubbing on the rear fender liner. Now I do have aftermarket fender flares on this vehicle, but even when I had these stock mud guards on here, it still was wanting to rub. So please just keep that in mind if you are going to keep the factory ride height of your vehicle. Now, one thing I do absolutely love about this vehicle is that it came equipped with a factory OEM auxiliary wiring harness. That means that with my auxiliary lighting I have up there with my ditch lights, I was able to take the wiring harness Y-split, go ahead and run this down and plug it right here into the factory OEM slot. What that did is help eliminate the need of having to add a switch and run through the firewall, because as we all know, that is an absolute pain in the butt to do, and it already came pre-equipped with an auxiliary 1, 2, and 3 switch. Now, unfortunately, talking with other people in the comment section, it does seem that not every single 2024 Toyota Tacoma trim has this option of the pre-existing OEM harness. It is not confirmed yet which models do and which models don't, but I do know that this is a TRD off-road and it does come equipped with that. So my theory is that everything that is a TRD level trim will have it, and everything that is not will not have it. I can't 100% confirm that statement, but that is something to keep in mind and make sure to ask your dealer about when looking at one of these vehicles. And while we're in the engine bay, I do want to go ahead and talk about our sponsor for today's video, which is going to be Lasfit. Now, if you guys have been subscribed to my channel, you know that Lasfit has been a part of this channel for quite some time now with the addition of this vehicle. And one of the things that I do want to go over today are going to be their LED front turn signals. When you talk about inexpensive and easy mods to do to your 2024 Toyota Tacoma, this is one of the things that immediately pops into my mind. These things are super bright and they're super easy to install. Not only is the build quality of these bulbs superior to their competitors, but they also are going to be coming in with 30,000 hour lifespan, and I can even show you how bright these things are even in the daylight. Here we are in the daylight, and as you can see, these things are super duper bright. I'll even go ahead and throw up some videos on the screen comparing the stock halogen bulbs versus the LED ones from Lasfit at night, and honestly, that video speaks for itself. If you guys want to check out this product, I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description box below, as well as the video of me installing these, and you guys can go ahead and check out my channel for other Lasfit products. Moving on to the interior of the vehicle, I'll have to say that my absolute favorite thing about this, besides the sound system, is going to be this giant infotainment center. It is coming in at about 14 inches, and this thing is absolutely massive. It's like riding around with a laptop. And speaking of sound systems, the one thing I was super duper happy that I chose to do was add the JBL sound system to this. If you are a metalhead like me or just like listening to music while you're driving, make sure you go ahead, spend the extra money, and get the upgraded JBL sound system. It is top notch. I love it. It sounds perfect. Now let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, and that is going to be on everybody's mind, and that is going to be your gas mileage. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that even though mine said 16.5 miles to the gallon, one thing you have to keep in mind is that I do have aftermarket wheels and tires, and with the larger tires, you are going to have a decrease in your MPG. Now, if you've done any research with these vehicles, you'll know that Toyota Tacomas are notorious for not being a fuel-efficient vehicle. It's not like the Prius. This thing will suck up gas like no other vehicle that you've had. Maybe not as worse as a Tahoe or an Escalade, but it still will eat up your wallet. I do find myself filling up about once a week every Friday, and that is just from a normal commute of going back and forth to work, which is about 15 miles. Now, those numbers aren't going to be exact, but that should just give you a ballpark method about what you should look forward to when having a vehicle like this. I did talk to other people in some forums, and it does seem that people are getting anywhere between 15.5 to 18.5 miles to the gallon. That really just depends on what you've done to your vehicle and how you drive it. Me, I drive it like I'm qualifying for the Baja 1000, so mine is going to be a little bit lower. Next thing I do want to talk about is rust protection. If you're like me and you live out in the heart of the Rust Belt, you are probably going to be running into some rust issues. Like I said, I've only had this for about 8 months, and as you can see, the lower frame rail is already starting to fade from the factory finish. I am a little bit concerned about this because my 2021 TRD Pro did show some very early signs of corrosion on the bottom of the frame rail. So I don't know if I'm going to have this professionally undercoated or if I'm just going to get some Rust-Oleum cans and do that myself. That is not decided yet, but I do know that if you are in the Rust Belt, make sure you guys consider one of those options. Now, one thing that might come to mind is what trim level do I go with when looking at this truck? There are a ton of different options and trim levels that you guys can choose from when speccing your vehicle. And as I already mentioned, this is the TRD Off-Road. Now, personally, in my opinion, if I were to do this again, I probably would have gotten the TRD Prerunner or the TRD Sport. I don't take this off-roading as much as I would like to, so I do kind of feel as if I paid for a lot of the options that I probably won't use as much. If you guys are going to be buying this vehicle and speccing it out yourself and doing a bunch of upgrades, go for the lower trim levels. There really is no point in getting the higher level trim options and paying all that money for stuff that you probably will not use that much. Now, if you have money and you like to ball out, it is without a doubt the right option to get either the Trailhunter or the TRD Pro. Only thing I would say about that is that you are going to be on a wait list. I tried to join the TRD Pro wait list many months before the vehicle even hit dealer lots, and the closest I could get was number 11. And I still have yet to get the call saying that my truck is in, and that was almost a year ago. Now, if you are a common driver and you don't really care about accessorizing your vehicle and you just want it for pretty much a daily driver, but you still like to have a lot of the nice little interior accessories, check out the Limited. Now, if you want a brand new truck and you don't want to spend a ton of money, check out the SR5. It is a great truck, and it's still a truck that you guys can buy and then accessorize and add different features on in the future. So there are a lot of different options that you guys can choose from, and I do think that's what makes Toyota so great, is that they have something for every single type of buyer. Well, everyone, that is going to be it for today's video, and if you did enjoy it, please make sure you hit the like button down below and also consider subscribing. If you guys have any questions about this vehicle's build, put them down in the comments below and I'll answer you back as best as I can. And if you guys are even more curious about this build, go ahead and check out my channel, as I do have other videos dedicated to this truck on there as well. Thank you guys again for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.